What's up, guys? It's your boy Jake Wilbur with Hoop Scoop TV, and today I'm going to give you guys one trade that I think actually makes sense for the Cavs this season and moving forward with their organization. Alright guys, so before we get into the video, I want to let you know about my dudes over at hoopdeals.com. They're giving away a free sniper shooting sleeve to anybody who wants one. All you got to do is cover shipping costs. That's it. You get a free sniper shooting sleeve as long as you cover the shipping costs. Hoopdeals.com is a great website, and we've loved partnering with them because it brings you guys massive discounts on whatever you need in your basketball lives, whether it's training equipment or whether it's fan gear. So definitely give them a look at the top link in my description, and don't forget to pick up your free sniper shooting sleeve. Alright guys, so now let's get into the video. So I really wanted to do this video because there's been a ton of turmoil in the Cavs organization with Kevin Love, with Isaiah Thomas. I want to do a video because I think what the Cavs need overall is new faces in the organization. I think they need a change, and that one trade that I think makes sense for them is to trade for DeMarcus Cousins. So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys my reasoning why I think DeMarcus Cousins is a great fit in Cleveland for now and moving forward, and why it also makes sense for the New Orleans Pelicans to trade Boogie right now. So first and foremost, let's talk about Boogie and the New Orleans Pelicans and why it makes sense for them to make this move right now. So I think the New Orleans Pelicans have to make a decision on Boogie Cousins sooner rather than later. He's in a contract season, and if you hold on to him too long, you've seen this happen time and time again in the NBA. If you hold on to him until free agency comes, you're going to have to pay him a ton of money anyway, and usually they might not stay where they're at right now. They might not want to stay in New Orleans. They might want to go team up with another superstar team in a bigger market like LA, like Miami, wherever it might be. So I think if the New Orleans Pelicans can get enough for Boogie right now, it might be worth it to just start building around Anthony Davis. The number one reason behind me thinking this way is because Anthony Davis is 24 years old. I know he's had some injury problems in the past, but that dude is a straight killer, and I think that he is going to be one of those top 5 guys moving forward in the NBA. So if you can build around a top 5 guy in the NBA at the age of 24, it just makes sense to do it now. But I want the Pelicans to get the most bang for their buck because DeMarcus Cousins is a highly sought after commodity in the NBA, being probably the best center in the league today. So I think in terms of compensation, New Orleans needs to get that Nets pick from the Cavs in return for DeMarcus Cousins, and it would also be nice to get a guy like Kevin Love, a guy that's kind of a veteran, that's been there, done that, and can kind of help those young guys in New Orleans out. And I think New Orleans could really start to build a good little squad around Anthony Davis and Kevin Love with that Nets pick. The Nets pick right now is projected to be either the 7th or the 8th draft pick in the draft order. So I think if the Pelicans can get lucky and maybe sneak into the top 5, you can really start to build a franchise around 2 really solid young players. And if they get in the top 3 and have a chance at a guy like a Luka Doncic, a Michael Porter Jr., someone like that, to build around Anthony Davis, like, you're starting to look at a really solid young team. And there's no saying, even if they drop down to the 7th position, that they can't still get a guy like Colin Sexton or Trae Young, who have absolutely been dominating the college scene this season. So I think it makes a lot of sense for the Pelicans to dump Boogie's contract before they lose him for nothing in free agency. And the biggest part about this is that they're starting to build now. You know, they're seeing the writing on the wall. Anthony Davis is 24 years old. He's about to hit the prime of his career, and you want to start building now. So if you can get those young pieces around him, if you can get a guy like Kevin Love, who is obviously not wanted in Cleveland anyway, and maybe rejuvenate his career a little bit, it really makes sense to me why the New Orleans Pelicans would make a trade like that. Alright guys, so now we talked about why it makes sense for the New Orleans Pelicans to trade DeMarcus Cousins right now. But now let's talk about why it also makes sense for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are trying to win right now. So the big elephant in the room is whether or not LeBron James is gonna stay in Cleveland moving forward after this season. So I think that in mind, the best thing that the Cleveland Cavaliers can do is try to win right now. So trading a guy that's disgruntled in Cleveland anyway and doesn't probably want to be there. I mean, Kevin Love has been a true professional, but the way they've been treating Kevin Love has been less than stellar. So I don't understand why you'd want to keep a guy like that that's obviously creating friction in the locker room that guys aren't getting along with. So I think it would make sense for LeBron and Cleveland to kind of move away from Kevin Love and trade him. And if that means giving up the Nets pick, you got to give up the Nets pick because you can start to win right now. And if they picked up a guy like Boogie Cousins, it would really make a lot of sense because when Cleveland has had success in the playoffs, in the finals, even without Kyrie Irving, they did it with Timothy Mozgov at center. And so you guys know I'm a huge NBA fan. I watch basketball games all the time. And I love watching Boogie Cousins, especially against the Warriors, because it does not seem like Boogie Cousins can get anything less than 20-20 on the Warriors. Like, he is just a dominant post presence. The Warriors don't really have a team built around stopping a guy in the low block like a Boogie Cousins. So adding Boogie Cousins to a lineup that already has LeBron James and Isaiah Thomas on it, I think would make a lot of sense because Boogie, his biggest problem in the past is that he's always played on bad teams. You know, he's played with Sacramento, he's played with New Orleans. Even though he has Anthony Davis, they don't really have a ton of pieces around him. Like, they're still in the playoff race, but he's kind of the guy that's expected to lead and whatnot. And Boogie is just not a leader. Like, that's not what he's known to do. He's kind of the guy that just wants to go and get buckets, wants to have big games, and wants to be the center of attention. Boogie Cousins with LeBron James just makes a lot of sense because, one, he gives the Cavs that much needed post presence, and I think LeBron's going to get the most out of Boogie Cousins. If there's one dude that Boogie might actually look up to and say, hey, you know, I'll take leadership from a guy like you, it would be LeBron James, because LeBron James is one of the best players that the NBA has ever seen. And I think DeMarcus has a ton of respect for James as being one of the best players of all time. So when you look at the Cavs and the two major problems that they're having this year in Cleveland is just the fact that they don't play defense and they don't have a presence down low. Sorry, but Tristan Thompson just isn't cutting it. It might be the Kardashian curse. And Kevin Love playing out of position is just not a great fit. He needs to be at the 4 position, not playing the 5. It's not a great fit for him. He's having bad games defensively, so I think it would make sense making the trade for Boogie, who gives you that presence down low. And I understand that Boogie hasn't always been known for his hustle points, hasn't always been known for like getting back on defense and playing super hard all the time. But I think with the help of LeBron James, he's going to push him to be that type of player. He can push him and get the most out of Boogie Cousins. So the pairing of LeBron and Boogie Cousins just makes a ton of sense to me, because could you imagine LeBron James and Boogie running pick and roll down the stretch of, you know, the NBA Finals games? Like, that would be pretty hard to stop. And especially if you put shooters around LeBron and Boogie, like, it just makes sense. Even if they retain Isaiah Thomas and keep him on the roster, like, it also makes a lot of sense with Isaiah Thomas too, because he gives them that post presence. Isaiah Thomas is one of those guys that likes to get into that 15-foot range, pull up for jumpers, and I think, you know, Boogie would definitely be the type of guy that could pull his guy away from Isaiah Thomas on those types of drives. So it makes a lot of sense for Boogie to go to Cleveland from Cleveland's perspective, because they need a big, they need a guy that can play defense when he wants to and is going to be held accountable by LeBron James. And let's face it, when Boogie Cousins wants to be the type of player he's capable of being, he's probably a top 3 talent in the NBA, right behind LeBron and KD. Alright, so now let's move to my last point on why it really makes a lot of sense for DeMarcus Cousins to go to the Cavs right now. So, as we all know, the Cavs are trying to win right now with LeBron, and I think if they can get to another finals and push the Warriors and maybe even beat the Warriors with Boogie Cousins, they could really start to think about keeping LeBron for another 2 to 3 years, because LeBron would be happy. You'd be winning at that point. You'd have another finals ring under your belt in your hometown. But let's think worst case scenario. Let's say LeBron doesn't re-up when its time comes this summer and he decides to go elsewhere, wherever that might be. Let's think about what that means for the Cavs organization moving forward. So, if LeBron decides to leave, you still got pieces around Boogie Cousins. You still got Isaiah Thomas, and you definitely got guys that you can start to bring in to start a rebuild for that organization. If I could say, hey, we're gonna have to get rid of LeBron, but as a consolation prize, you still have Isaiah Thomas and you still have DeMarcus Cousins, I think I'd be pretty happy with that. Those are two guys that you can really start to build a franchise around and start to kind of make a run in the East, especially if LeBron goes to a Western Conference team. Like, there's a ton of rumors that he might go to the Spurs, or he might go to the Lakers, wherever it might be. It's most likely that LeBron might end up on the West Coast. So if he ends up on a Western Conference team and the East is still wide open with Boston and Toronto and those dudes, like, I think a team with Boogie Cousins and Isaiah Thomas could still definitely compete in the Eastern Conference. Without a doubt, the New Orleans Pelicans and the Cleveland Cavaliers really have to start to think about what moves they're going to want to make moving forward, because no matter what, the New Orleans Pelicans, as currently constructed today, are not going to get to the NBA Finals. They're probably not even going to get to the Western Conference Finals. I'm sorry, but the West is just too loaded. So it makes sense for them to start to build around Anthony Davis right now and get some pieces for Boogie Cousins before he leaves in free agency. And for the Cavs, you guys are on straight damage control right now. Like, you guys just got to right the ship as soon as you can. And I think, you know, moving Kevin Love and moving a Nets pick that, you know, could be a good pick, but if you can build a franchise around an Isaiah Thomas and DeMarcus Cousins, I think you got to do it now, because if you can win right now, I think you have a better chance at keeping LeBron in the long term. Definitely make the move. I think it's the best move for both of you guys, and moving forward, it's gonna be the most beneficial move for your organizations. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoy doing these types of videos for you because I like the conspiracy theory. I love the rumors. I love all of that stuff that goes around in the NBA on a day-to-day basis. Alright guys, if you guys are new to Hoop Scoop TV, you're gonna want to do a few things. First, subscribe to us. We're putting out great weekly NBA content that I promise you'll enjoy. The second thing you want to do is like this video, and the last thing you want to do is leave a comment behind. I love engaging with you as much as possible, so make sure you leave a comment behind and hopefully I'll get to it. Like I always say, we're a channel for the people, by the people. I love running all of the content that I do off of your guys' requests, so leave a comment behind, hopefully I'll get to it. As always guys, this is Jake Wilbur with Hoop Scoop TV, and until next time, I'm out.